Welcome back, Wanderers and World Builders, to another episode of TTRPGiraffe, the tabletop RPG podcast where dice meets design, meets monsters, meets mayhem. I'm one of your hosts, Steel, and today I'm here with...
Hello everybody, it's Doug again, coming in as one of your DMs.
And hi everybody, I'm Nate. I'm another one of the DMs. I'm just hanging out here. We got a fun episode for you today, but we got one other person with us here.
And finally, it's me, Kai. Hi, guys. What say we get into this thing? What are we doing today?
Yep, today we're going to take a stroll down Evil Street as we delve into the dark world of villains. The big bads, the morally questionable, the deceitfully dubious. But here's the thing, villains is both our topic and our acronym for today. And as always, we'll have some more exclusive content for you guys on Patreon. Make sure to drop us your feedback down below. So, Nate, tell us a bit more about villains.
Yeah, so with villain being the acronym, we were like, what makes a villain that also spells villain? So we kind of broke it down here. Today we'll delve into each of these, but we'll start with V, and then I'll do a recap at the end. And V stands for their vision and their vice. What do they want? What's their goal or their dream or obsession? What corrupts them? Basically, what completely drives their actions and is their motivation?
I think we should go with the good old school world domination.
It is hard
The
to
pinky
beat
and
for
the
a
brain
reason.
method.
That is always a classic. Well, why not let's add a little bit of depth to it? Why do they want world domination? Is it power? Money? Just a desire to control everything? What are we thinking?
They just think it's neat. No.
They're just happy to be here.
They just want it, you know? Just some chill guy wanting to rule the world.
Right.
Just wants bragging rights. No. No, it'd be almost... I think it'd be kind of cool to take almost a similar take to, like, Mr. Freeze to it and maybe give the villain something to work towards or for. For instance, he wants a world because it will give him enough power to obtain blank, which could help him with his other goal, which is saving his wife in the case of Mr. Freeze, or any other type of secondary goal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe they also think that they're the only ones worthy enough of doing this, of ruling this world. Maybe they're so prideful that they think that they're doing something morally righteous.
Or
Yes.
maybe
Chosen
they've
one
got a
syndrome.
backstory where the people in power have done something wrong and he wants to change it.
Somebody who started from the
I like
bottom
that.
and now are here. Because my favorite types of villains are the ones that are multidimensional. The ones that are not just like, oh, I am evil because I'm evil. But they have a purpose for it. And in my opinion, some of the best ones are the ones that have that hint of an argument that you're like, oh, maybe they're right. Maybe they are the ones who can be able to do this. So, like, one of my favorite villains of all time, I won't go into any details just to keep it vague, but one of the things is that they are from an ancient race, and they really, really want to restore their people because they live essentially for eternity, but the majority of their populace, except for 4 of them left, all died. And now every other person, every other being is basically just a fragment, an echo of them. Well, can't have that. All my friends, all my people, they're gone. I want them back. That's like what you were talking about, Steel, for that pride aspect of just like, oh yeah, I'm the only one who can do this. I'm the only one who's pure. So something that's like, I need to rule the world to bring it all together.
So it sounds like our villain basically is chosen one syndrome, that suffered some sort of trauma, which in their brain, the only way to fix that trauma is take over the world, and they're the only one who's even capable of doing that.
Yeah, I think that's a
Sounds
very
about
good
right.
start. No, I think that covers the vision and vice section of villains. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
No, absolutely it does. We'll bring more of that into it as we go further on. It's going to be like the acidic method where it ends up not being entirely linear, and lots of the steps will call back to each other, which is not a bad thing. It's good to have cohesivity throughout all of it. Or is it cohesiveness?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And as we go through the different letters, we'll start refining it as we get there. We'll start talking on ideas as we're beginning off, but then we'll refine them as we start going into other letters, such as our next one, which will be I, identity and image. We talked about them being this really prideful individual, the person who is the chosen one who has to save everybody. But who are they? What's their name? Who are they to the world? How are they perceived by us and the people of this place? What do you got? I'm gonna throw it to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's very important to say that identity and image is very important enough for this character, because not only is it however the players perceive this individual, it's also how the world around them perceives them. How they influence the world that they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely think with how we're leaning into it, our villain either started high up, if not just straight up some type of nobility, and possibly even became like a knight of some sort or a high-ranking military type.
Ooh, yeah, I like the idea of like a high-ranking military general who has gotten their way to the top either through maybe power or manipulation or something. Which is why they might have their chosen one complex, because they managed to get so high and powerful.
Yeah, probably pretty quickly too. Cunning strategist.
Ooh, yeah. So like that high up general. You just mentioning like them surviving in like this battles and onslaughts and things like that, and them being a general like comes to mind of like an individual who has seen so much war and has seen so many people die around them, and yet they remain. And so like the first thing that came to mind when you guys were talking about that was the immortal general, the one who whether can they die or can't they die, it does not matter. Nobody knows. That is the question.
I like that. For the sake of alliteration and to possibly hit a funny here, how would you guys feel about it starts with Immortal General, so it starts with I, right? So what if it was Ivan, the Immortal General?
Ooh, that could work. That could work.
For those of you playing at home who do not understand the reference, Ivan is the one who helps us put this all together. The big honcho himself. And it makes
Yep,
it
the big brain.
that much more tasty.
I'm sure I'd like us to clarify though that he's not as evil as the villain that we're going to create.
No. Only on Tuesdays. No, just kidding.
Hey, it's every other Tuesday. Get it
My
right.
bad, that's right.
It's the even
Cutbacks.
Tuesdays.
No.
But it is
No,
funny
no,
to be able to
he's-
have. Yeah, it's funny to have both that alliteration and a reference to the real world, which is also helps establish it for the players who are here in the real world, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to use classical literature as well for your villains. Like, just get as much inspiration as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always say it, and I only say it like half jokingly. One of the first rules of DMing is plagiarize everything. If it sounded cool to you, find a way to steal it, man.
Oh man, like there are so many interesting things that you can be able to do with a villain that are not thought of before. I just watched a role-playing saga essentially where they did the Greek gods, but the Greek gods were wrestlers, and they were all the villains in it. So it is amazing what you can do with something that's already established and just twist it a little, or maybe just turn it on its head.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely. So now that we've got name and title, sort of general idea of their position. Good thing I like to include is like little key details about their appearance. Usually about 3. Maybe it's something they're wearing, a key feature on their face, or like their body type, to really highlight certain aspects of the players.
I would like to add, along with that part, the fashion aspect of them, do they have any type of like weird quirk that they're kind of known for or by? Like maybe they part their hair a certain way, or they laugh a certain way, or something like that. Because that's all part of your image too.
Yeah, so for a round table, I'd like to pose the idea as somebody who has lived through so much and probably has had to endure so much as well. They probably have, maybe encountered a fire or two, maybe even survived a fire or two. So I like the imagery of them just being completely cleaned. Like maybe they have scars or something, but like they have no hair, no facial hair, no hair on their head. If you were able to take off their armor, you'd probably see that they have no chest hair or anything else, but that'd be getting weird at that point. but something like that, just something that is like completely smooth all over, and then maybe some wrinkles of the scars that they've had to endure.
Okay. So completely clean shaven, completely bald, and then like burn scars basically across like their neck and the side of their face.
Something like that.
Okay.
I'd
Okay.
like to think
I'm-
as well that because they've been in so many battles that they've gained a little sense of paranoia. So like they're
Ooh.
always wearing at least a few bits of armor at one time.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
The individual who falls asleep in the full plate mail.
Yeah, for
That being-
real. Yeah, that's them.
That being said as well, no, not only would it be probably wearing armor, but I imagine it would be very grandiose armor. Something that looks and holds the significance of their powers. Someone like that is very prideful would want to show it off to others, wouldn't they?
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely. Big flashy symbols or something that just screams, "I'm better than you." Like
Yeah, and like something that is competent for their station. They are not the individual who's wearing a single breastplate going out into the middle of a war. They are the one who is
Right.
fully decked out, knowing that they are the ones who are going to have to lead this charge and survive to the end. So they're like the ones that have like the pauldrons on the shoulder that just are fully spiked. It does not make sense why there's so much metal on them, but there's so much metal on it because they have that extra protection and they have to show off that they are the ones to be able to do it.
yeah. Here
I mean, on the battlefield as well, if they're wearing like large pieces of armor, it's a bit of fear factor as well for the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta say this too, in honor of one of the most dramatic villains of all time, Darth Vader. Guy's gotta have a cape.
Yes.
Yes, they are not superheroes in this instance. Therefore, in the Incredibles universe, they are fine to wear capes.
Yeah, exactly. But I like this so far, honestly. I'm
I
really
think we've
digging
got
our
some
general.
good key details down. We don't want to add too much to the image of this individual, because it can be a lot for a player. And you just want some key things that they can focus on to remember this character by.
Right.
Absolutely.
In that case, I suppose that takes us on to the next stage, our first L, Legacy and Law. What sort of history has this character got? How did they start off? Because they certainly didn't start off as a high-ranking military general.
Probably books. Being wealthy, I'm sure had access to a library, caught a certain book that talked about wartime or a certain general or something similar, and was like, this is what I need to do.
Ah, I like that, especially because we were talking about them being a tactician, and, well, have good tactics, you have to be well-learned. You have to know what the other person's going to do. I like that.
I'd say they'd have an instructor as well at a young age that would like ingrain that mindset that they'd carry on throughout life.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Also, maybe something we could include in the backstory is how they've maybe some sort of link to magic that has allowed them to remain so invulnerable, as it were.
Yeah, that's a good backstory piece to be able to have. One of the things that we've been talking about is how they've been in all these wars and they've been in all these battles, including the fact that they've been in battles where they're the only survivor. Well, in my idea, or at least my thought, there are those battles where before they even had the ability to be invulnerable, invincible, they probably fell into a trap or fell into an ambush or fell into something that because of their tactics they were able to quickly identify and be able to turn the tide and make it work for them, though still suffered great loss. But because they were able to turn the tide, they were able to also find a lot of magic along the way. So probably during one of their bouts, they were able to get at least a couple different items that synergize to make it so that they are fully invulnerable.
Oh yeah, I like that. Maybe perhaps with their education, they might have learned of these items and have been slowly trying to collect them all over this long period of time until they reach the stage at which now the players face the villain.
Right, and it's something
Yes.
that's not like, it's not just one person had on them, and it's just like, oh, now I have an armor of invulnerability, I am invincible kind of thing. But it's a couple of different things that just had some key magic that combine together because he's so learned that will make it so that now he is essentially invulnerable. Essentially one of those ones where it's like you always have fresh, like an enchantment to always be able to allow for fresh meat or something like that. That way you can be able to have no necrosis happen to your skin. Therefore you have like this invulnerability to necrotic damage, things like that. And then you have something that allows for the quick knitting of whether it be equipment or flesh. And that's how rapid healing, things like that are able to help keep it so that they're essentially invulnerable.
I do like that, and him wanting to become invulnerable ties back into those scars really well, because I'm sure that'll be a big point in his backstory. It'll be the battle where he got the scars, and that's probably what pushed him towards this desire of invulnerability through world domination. I'm sure it all started with that one battle that gave him the scars, because it only takes one bad day.
Is no good, very bad day.
Yeah. So I definitely think that's something that we'll have to explore a little bit in like what type of battle, and I mean it is TTRPG giraffe, so I mean dragon is immediately what I'm leaning to. Burned face, forbidden knowledge, item collecting, powerful magic item collecting. Like I immediately am like, this calls for a dragon.
I get that.
Dragon is a very classic option in the TTRPG area, isn't it? You know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why not?
Right?
Also,
What?
there's plenty of different dragons that we can use to make it a little more original.
Oh yeah, and you don't even have to use the
Absolutely.
D&D type ones too, because you got all the chromatic dragons, you have all the metallic dragons, you have all the gem dragons. But then you can also go into the the ones that we deal with in like the real world. There's also the like the Eastern dragons and how they're different from the Western dragons and those different types of mythoses.
Yeah, absolutely. American Dragon Jake Long. I do like that, and then you could always tie that into it back into it too somehow. Whether he has like a weapon or a piece of armor made of dragon scale or dragon bone, or shit, maybe he's got a pet dragon. Who knows? Like,
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe that's the mentor. That mentor we were talking about was a dragon.
ooh,
And that's how he first
yeah.
got taught magic.
Perhaps the scars weren't from a battle. Maybe it was from his training.
Yes.
oh, like an initiation type ritual thing.
Ooh. See, I really like that because we were talking about how they have the magic essentially to be invulnerable now, or make it rapid healing or something that makes it seem like that. But they keep the scars, and they keep showing off those scars to show where they have been, where they have come from, to show that they have grown and have that sense of pride in them. It actually kind of leads into that second L, the layered personality. Kind of what we're touching upon of who they are as a character. Why are they how they are? What conflicts do they have within themselves, outside of themselves? What are they looking for? Do they care for somebody? Do they fear somebody? Do they want something better for the world or something worse for everybody else? And touching upon what we were just mentioning, I like that because now it has that additional, I'm prideful, but I know where I came from. And I show it to you every single time you look at my face, if you can survive.
I do like that. Where's
Yeah.
his heart on his face?
Yeah, I think the pridefulness and linking back to how he continues to show that he knows where he came from, really links back to the kind of believing to be morally righteous, like he's doing this to help others rather than to personally further himself. Like he
Right.
knows he knows the suffering that an individual can go through. He knows the pain and the suffering, so he wants to stop that. But maybe he's going through it through more horrific means.
Mm-hmm. Going to those extremes that make it villainous to some.
Yeah.
Would he be
look-
closed-minded about it though, or would he have like a mindset, like an open mindset?
Ah,
I feel
that's
like someone like this who's got this chosen one sort of ideology will probably be very set in their beliefs that they think that they're the one that will solve the problems. They've got the experience. They are the one that can stop the harm that's coming across the world, even if it does require great sacrifice of those around him.
right. I 100%
how
agree with
I-
that still. Oh, what were you
I
saying?
do agree with that. How I kind of picture it is because of the books and because he is very learned and he is very knowledgeable and smart, he would probably have an open mind to other people's ways, but he would have a very strict moral guide and a very like set list of rules and things he needs to do and how he needs to behave and act and accomplish in order to achieve his main goal.
Right.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I suppose that would also look a little bit of the alignment, like a lawful evil character. Is by the sounds of it, what we're looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
And
lawful
actually-
evil.
And I like both your guys' ideas, and so we can kind of merge them where, yes, they are open-minded to all the other cultures, they are very learned, but after spending so much time seeing everything that they've done and maybe picking off pieces from all the other cultures that are around, they found that not any one culture has one solution that fits everything, and only he can be able to really make it accomplish. They know what is out there, and they've picked out some key factors, but no, what he has is the best plan because he's looked at all of the other ones.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's a very good way to
Yes.
link it together. And that was a good
He's the
thing.
Doctor Strange. I just thought of that. He's seen all 525,000 futures, and only his is the right one.
That's right. I do like that. That's so good. That adds a good layer to him. I got goosebumps. Not to, toot my own horn or anything, but no.
One other thing that I thought of that might help to add further to this layered personality is he trying to perhaps train an heir to his throne? Is he trying to train some people below him to help
Ooh.
further his own cause?
That's a good idea to touch upon.
Ooh, could he have his like own little like strike squad underneath him that he trains?
So I like the idea of a strike squad for purely military purposes because he is the immortal general. But as for trying to make an heir, I feel like maybe he'd be trying to find someone that could take over in case he can't accomplish this, but maybe hasn't found them yet. But it's definitely searching.
Ooh, or maybe perhaps we have this character that perhaps does have a flaw to them, and they're looking for someone which lacks this flaw, someone that is the perfect creature in his own eyes, that he could mold into something that he wishes to be.
Right. Well, we
I
were
like
talking
that.
about how the mentor is a dragon. I really like the idea of he's either has a wormling or is looking for a wormling to be able to train them in what he's already learned.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I do
coming
like
full
that.
circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that works very nicely.
Yes, I agree. I do like that a lot.
And I suppose training other individuals, that kind of takes us on to the next letter, the A, Arsenal and allies. What do we think?
So we're talking about arsenals and allies, and we have this general, somebody who is very militaristic, high level of competency, has basically regimes underneath them. One thing to be able to ask, and this will probably go back to the personality, are they ruling everybody with that iron fist? I am the only way to be able to move forward. You do not want to pose a threat against me and my way. I feel like that is how they're moving forward, even if they are logical about what they're doing. It is just what's right. They're the only way to be able to have that solution.
Yeah, I really like that idea, and I imagine at the point where he would probably start becoming this larger evil villain, he could probably have taken over at least a city by now and be ruling it as this militaristic leader, perhaps with his own legion at his command, which he's using to try and spread further and pursue his own supposedly righteous path.
I feel
Yeah.
like, yes, he is a very big dictator when it comes to orders and following the plan and like his way and the highway, but because he has that open mind and because he's accepting of other things and he's learned, he should be quite kind a little bit to the like people that he has.
Okay. So
yeah.
ruling an iron fist for everybody who is not already in the fold.
Yeah, yeah, I like the
Oh, I
idea
got
of
you.
that.
So mercy's only for the loyal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like perhaps to his own city, he is presented as a very kind and caring leader, but then all those which choose to oppose his idea, or at least go against it, will face the full might of his military strength.
I do like that. I do like that. So he's basically, because then he can say, "Look how my people love me. Clearly, I'm not as evil as you make me to be." You know what I mean? And try to play on that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
definitely.
quite like that.
He would probably also very much try to demonize his enemies in the other kingdoms, make them appear as enemies to their kingdom.
The propaganda king.
Right. But
Yeah.
I feel like, especially with how logical he is, he's not just saying it as propaganda, but he truly believes it. We've made him as this high and mighty individual who has looked at all the other options, and they do not have something that he has, which is that knowledge, that is that immortality. It feels like this power that everybody else has. It's propaganda, but it's propaganda that he makes it seem so real. So that, like, he is saying everything with that intention and, like, feeling behind it.
I'd also like to
Yeah.
say, because he's such a tactician, he'd be quite underhanded at times as well when dealing with other nations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Be
absolutely.
like, well, let's starve them out type of tactics.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
speaking
playing
of
the
other
chessboard.
nations and that, there will probably, well, most likely, there will be other nations which probably agree with his ideals. So definitely be, boss, you would have a lot of enemies. He'd definitely be allied with quite a few nations, as he would want to strengthen his own military might as well, wouldn't he?
Absolutely. Not to mention, he himself would make sure that he had like the best magical armor and weapon he could possibly afford. But what weapon would an immortal general have that would strike fear into people? What's our general's iconic, like, you see him in this armor with this weapon and you know you're fucked?
A warhammer.
Ooh. Two-handed warhammer? Like a big one?
Yes.
I was actually thinking of something else. Rather than a large weapon, what about some sort of magical item which allows him to command over the very being of someone? Like perhaps some sort of magic item which lets him take control of others, and his strength comes from that, and his ability to then turn them into a larger army.
Ooh.
So,
Like
like,
a-
if it was a ring and he was, like, holding up his hand with the ring glowing on it or something?
Yeah, and then those which weren't strong-willed enough would fall under his command, which is then what made so many fear him.
Oh, man.
Gotcha.
just
So
like that.
really, his weapon is his commanding presence and his magical ring.
Like an
Yeah, 'cause,
aura
I
of
mean,
command.
sometimes the idea of
Oh.
death is less scary than the idea of losing one's own self and being forced to submit to another.
Oh, the loss of
Oh
will.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
And then I think, just to enhance it, just because we've all been talking about it, it's that very terrifying, over intricate metal armor, just completely covered, that you cannot penetrate this individual. You got the ring on there to be able to keep everybody down, and you cannot make a stab at him because he is just invulnerable.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that.
Probably made
combo.
out of
It
something
works really
like
well.
adamantine or mithril or something heavy duty too.
Or perhaps even a rarer mineral, something that may exist in as a homebrew in the world that you're inserting this villain into.
Ooh, I like that.
A homebrew mineral that also has magic with it, and that's really what causes the general to stay alive.
Yes, I love that.
Are we saying that's all for Arsenal and Allies then?
Yeah, and I suppose that kind of takes us on to the next letter, which is interaction style. I mean, we've just been talking about how this general will be using his abilities and magical items to pursue his own ideas. So let's just continue off of that with, like I said, interaction style.
Yeah,
It sounds to me like he would probably be, with this prideful, he probably wouldn't find the need to speak often, but when he did, he would always make sure he was clear and eloquent.
yes,
Yes.
So,
very blunt, so that everything that he said, everyone listened to.
Yes. Make sure he's clear and is heard.
Mm-hmm. He does not fluff up his language. This is not a bard we're dealing with. There are not 20 extra words that do not need to be in that sentence.
right. Right. So like when he comes with but he probably also has, like, you know how nobles kind of have that air of arrogance in their voice? He probably still has that too. So it's like it's probably like something like surrender to me or don't. You know what I mean? Like it's short, blunt, to the point, like he'll give you an ultimatum every time.
Oh, definitely. I also got a bit of an idea for maybe whenever he's interacting with the extremely vulnerable, like children or animals, he might have a more of a soft-spoken voice. Because if he believes he's doing this to save the world, quite often than not, those that do that are looking to protect the innocent and the weak.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I could see
Yeah.
that. I could see that for sure. Him being softer with children and certain animals, absolutely.
Yeah, I imagine that we have this, because we're talking about this wormling that is going to be his successor. I imagine that whether he has, like, other wormlings that have not been deemed as worthy enough, or he eventually finds one, has those scenes being able to see him strict but fair, and always encouraging, but only for that wormling. Anybody else who comes in there is like, "What are you doing? Get out of my sight!"
Right.
Yeah,
Would there be an interaction style that the villain hates? So, like, say a bard, and like how you were saying, like words that just don't need to be in there.
Ooh,
mean,
like,
Oh.
for instance, he
Yeah,
dislikes overindulgence. Just
Yeah.
I
period.
imagine him cutting him off at that point. Like, they keep talking and talking and talking, and at some point, either he just uses that ring we've been talking about, or literally just shouts over them to to stop. That's enough.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I also imagine he probably would not be very fond of too much diplomacy. As we've discussed, he spent so much time refining his own ideals and coming to a conclusion of what is the right idea, what is the right solution based off everything he's seen. So he probably won't be up to too much to discuss it with others.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, if they ask for negotiations, he goes sure and shows up and then goes, so you're surrendering? And they're like, well, no, we're negotiating. He goes, yeah, you're surrendering. That's the negotiation.
You do or you don't.
You surrender
Yeah.
or you die.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that also leads into, like, how does Ivan the General deal with the player characters too? Because these are the ones who are going to be dealing with the villain. And so to the most part, it would seem that the players, they're probably like insects to him. He looks down upon them, whether they're just adventurers who are coming to, call to wander in or make an ultimatum to the general themselves, or just stumbles upon him. Just no matter what, always looking down over their nose. Just that arrogance to them.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
it'd be a highly militaristic state, wouldn't it? So I feel like he wouldn't look too fondly upon adventurers, and adventuring.
That's
Yeah.
that's totally
Yeah.
true.
Definitely.
It might be one of those villains that you hear about, but you deal with their
Dislikes
cohorts
freedom.
first.
Yeah, you deal a lot with his underlings before you ever even got the chance to see him, let alone interact with him.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Most of the interactions that the players would have with him would be of stories and just tales passed around in a tavern.
Right, as they adventure on, they would encounter enemy or members of his strike squad or his legion or something like that, who were out and about doing other stuff for him, and they would just keep getting more and more grandiose tales as they go.
Yeah, or be affected by the army that is now pushing their way through, maybe even their own homeland. And they
Ooh.
were out when this all came about.
This is really nicely going into the next letter, N, narrative role and endgame, how it would fit into the
Yes.
campaign.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Good segue.
main thing looking at this here, this is definitely sort of one that would either be an entire campaign or at least a very long-lasting plot line.
Yes.
Yeah, like an
I
overarching
feel
one
like to
that.
fit it in, we could go back
Absolutely.
to finding an heir. He set out trials to try and find someone.
Right. Or
Ooh,
maybe the
yeah.
adventurers are looking for that dragon egg or dragon, wormling, whichever it might be, to find that that individual who will be that successor.
Ooh.
Or perhaps even a rival faction of the villain has tasked the adventurers with finding this egg before the main villain can.
Yeah.
Oh,
And actually,
I like that.
and making like an anti dragon,
I like that a lot.
utilizing their strength.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay,
that
I
would
like
then
that
give
too.
a massive sense of urgency to the campaign, which is often quite a good motivator as one of the key parts of the campaign which pushes it forwards.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this guy is definitely going to be like the BBEG of this. Like, even if he's just the general of his state, he's like that general that everyone knows is really in charge, and the king is just a figurehead or a face. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
100%. Like this is an obvious tyrant, somebody who
Yeah.
just it's their way or the highway kind of thing.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we discussed briefly about maybe him overthrowing the whatever monarchy is in charge of the current kingdom. Perhaps rather than it starting like that, perhaps like during halfway through the campaign, the players could hear stories about this general overthrowing the monarch, and that would be a big event in the
Ooh.
world that's
Oh,
happening
yeah.
unrelated to the players.
That's
I
so
like
good because
that.
it feels like stuff's actually happening in the campaign away from the characters. And,
Yeah.
adds lore and depth to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and depending on how the DM wants to shape it, it could be that that the general is doing a neighboring kingdom and now has set their sights on the kingdom that the players are in and is continuing that march, or they're already in that state. They're going to have to fight whatever they have to get out of there at that point. So many options.
Lots of good ways they could do. But that kind of like that makes them not only the tyrant, but in a way it would make them potentially like a puppet master. Like if they were pulling some strings in the dark, like potentially throwing out possible false leads for the adventurers.
Ooh, yeah, or maybe he's even using the players to find the dragon egg. Maybe he's only pretending to go because he has no idea where it could be, so he's waiting until the players locate it so he can swoop in the last moment and take it from right under their noses. Especially since we talked about him being strategic. Why waste his own resources to try and find this egg if he can get some random plebs from the street to do it for him?
Right.
So so it sounds like he, using probably magical disguise self or some sort of variant of that, is the one who gave the adventurers the quest anyway. He's like, you need to find it before he does, but he was secretly spying on them somehow the whole time.
He could be promising a high reward, but the reward at the end could just be death. To
There's no
silence them.
greater reward than to die for me.
Well, it might be that because we're talking about him like really caring about his people, that reward might end up being, the ability to be that individual who will be rising up, the one that they end up training. But you must submit to me. You must give in. And depending on the player that's there, that could be a very big moral conundrum. It could be something that, oh yeah, no, I would definitely join you. Or no, you killed my whole family and all my village. I hate your guts. And then that's when the general goes, no, then you must die then. And that's when the whole thing turns.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
many
Absolutely.
Which would then give us a really nice way to have the end game of the campaign.
Right, exactly. Now they have some extra need to get rid of this guy because the individual who gave the egg up and refused is now a real big threat. And now all the resources of the general is going towards this because they are strategic and powerful enough to find the egg, but are not on his side.
I just had another idea, but you guys let me know if this is too much or if you think it would be too much. Most people like this have a coup de grace type move, like should worst come to worst, shit hits the fan, I got one last possible move, right? What if somehow it's like magically linked or something that if his heart slows below a certain beat or a certain rate or something, the dragon he's the mentor of shows up.
Oh.
Or the
I
dragon that's
definitely
mentoring
like
him,
that.
I mean. Pardon me.
Yeah, because we talked about him being a tactician, so he definitely has a backup plan or backup plans upon backup plans to make sure that happens. Maybe, and it could be the dragon. It could be that there is a different spell or something that is there. Like, they have a dimension door or they have a teleport spell that can get them out there. But I definitely like the idea that if something happens to them to a certain point, they have that contingency to be like, oh no, I am either having something come in to protect me or destroy what's attacking me, or I'm getting out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely fits. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could do that. Perhaps even whenever he begins to die, he has some sort of spell which transfers his soul into the dragon.
Yeah.
Like
The immortal
places
general.
its own
Quite nice,
consciousness.
the ring and the control you were on about earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yes! Oh, that's so good.
That's such a good idea.
I love that so much.
The immortal general, the Dragon Lord.
Oh, this is shaping up nicely. Should we get down to the nitty gritty stuff, the mechanical teeth, the stats?
Yeah, always good to get to that, which
Oh, yeah.
starts as our S, the final letter.
Yes, and this is, again, a BBEG for a high-level campaign, especially if once you beat him, he summons a dragon and you have to fight him, but as a dragon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is an individual that not just has legendary actions, lair actions. This is one that, a relatively new mechanic that I love using in my own campaigns. This guy has a mythic action. That essentially means that he has a phase 2. And when he turns into his phase 2, he has other abilities that happens. That's when we were talking about, he goes into the dragon. Now he has dragon stuff.
Exactly.
Phases are a great way to liven up combat.
Oh, yeah. Final Fantasy been milking them for years.
Oh, yeah. I see you,
If it ain't
Kefka.
broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Amen.
So, I mean, we don't really have enough time to go fully into detail for this, so I suppose just looking over it, are we thinking let's focus first stage. Are we thinking he's going to be more of a fighter, more of a spellcaster? Perhaps he doesn't do much fighting himself and instead just keeps summoning waves of enemies to fight the players. What are we thinking?
I feel like
So he's like a
hybrid.
high defensive summoner?
Yeah, I like that. Perhaps also constantly putting out mental effects or like, well, spell DCs that the players have to go against or take on effects rather than damage.
Oh,
Right.
I
If we
do
go
like
back,
that. What were you saying, Doug?
what I was saying is just like talking about like the type of role that they are, and going back to our aesthetic method. One of the ones that we really like to go on is the control guy. So this is the one who is summoning other people to be able to control the battlefield, but also they have that ring. They are going to be commanding the other individuals, control, and potentially even, I don't know if you want to call it dominate or brainwash or whatever, but force the other players to potentially turn in on them, on the other players.
Ooh.
compel them to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
Give
basically, a
in.
high defense psionic field controller.
Mm-hmm. And maybe it's not psionics, more of just magic and full compulsion, but definitely just like that aura that we're talking
Okay.
about.
Absolutely, that is definitely a good idea. I mean, you need to be careful how you do that because it can be a bit difficult to play, obviously, because players will have started to get bonds, so they don't want to attack each other too much. But if done well, it can add a lot of tension to the scene, really enhance
Right.
the story.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was gonna
mean-
say I know you said that we didn't have time to dig fully into it, but I do think trying to flesh out a basic CR, possibly AC and HP at least for this guy.
Oh yeah, we
Yes.
can definitely do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking high defense, a guy who molds himself after dragons. This guy is easily like a 22, a 23. Like, he's modeling himself after adult, maybe even ancient dragons. He's going to be hard to hit.
Massively.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And since he has two faces, we can even give it a range. So, what you think, CR 20 to 23?
I could definitely see that, especially if we're talking, because when you jump into layers, then they bump up also CRs as well.
For sure.
Because the layer, Steele, you had a good point of maybe controlling all the player characters starts making it bogged down, but maybe that's what happens in the lair. It doesn't happen out in the field. Maybe it's just a command and you stop fighting. But in the lair, that's where you feel the compulsion.
Oh yeah, that's good. That would be a good way to do it. Yeah.
I do like that. Having such a high CR, then he'll also have an equally high AC, especially with that armor, and then he becomes a dragon. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, this is a phased
And
guy.
he's the BBG, so he needs to have something about him.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
He can't just get hit immediately and die in a single turn. Can't be having that.
Oh, you beat me! Oh no!
Very anticlimactic.
Not exactly a big bad, more like a little guy.
And we all know the players like to build characters that are quite a nuisance to DMs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And that's the great thing about
being
phases.
being the CR that he is, with as high up as he is, and that type of armor, I would feel comfortable giving him a 24, 25 AC. To be honest.
I feel like it's got to adjust. So, like, maybe he starts off as a 23 when he is the individual himself, but then, like, when he changes into the dragon, that's when he gets, like, essentially the ancient dragon form, and that's where he's now that 25. Now he's even harder to hit.
Yeah, that would definitely work well in this scenario. I mean, like you said, we obviously don't want the first one to be hard to hit, but we do want the second phase to be even harder to hit.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then what if we lowered it even more and made the first phase AC 21, like just over 20, and then dragon form 25? It's only a 4-point jump, but that 4 points is a big difference.
I mean, AC, mechanically, 4 points always makes a big difference. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
What about HP? Because if we're going to give him the ability to heal with his armor in the first phase as well, I feel like he shouldn't have that much of a high HP field. But in his second stage, he might lose that ability with the loss of the armor turning into the dragon, but gain a higher HP pool.
Yes.
Yeah. I probably
Yeah,
think
for
we would
sure.
have about 200 in the first phase. Because by the sound of it, with
I've-
such a high CR monster, we want it to be a decent amount.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
I can see 200. Something that we learned with our acidic method after we went through and play tested it is that 300 HP is really high in the
Yeah.
world of D&D. Not many things hit that number.
It takes a while
So
to get.
200 as a starting is good.
Especially with this being a higher CR monster as well. I mean, we were talking about that CR not 23 earlier, which means it will be going against some pretty high level players.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just pulled up for
So-
reference, just to keep an idea out. An ancient red dragon. Do you guys want to guess what the average hit points are for that?
275.
Got 275 on the board. Kai, what do you got?
Ooh, let's go. Screw it, let's go 300.
300? All right, Steel, what do you got?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot there.
Of
My
course I am.
guess is, I mean, it's ancient red dragon. Red dragons are pretty powerful. I'm gonna lean. I know it's a bit of a big jump, but I'm gonna lean closer to 500.
And guess who is right, folks? Steel is the closest with 546 HP for an ancient red dragon.
Damn, that is a lot
Dang.
of hit points.
Yeah, CR24,
So then when he
baby,
goes into
baby,
dragon mode,
it
do we
is
just say he
rough to fight.
doubles
So-
and a little extra? Does he go
and
like
I
straight to
just
400,
decided to
450?
disappear on you.
What CR is an ancient red dragon out of interest?
Am I back?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
There we go. I
Sorry, Doug.
disconnected
Oh,
for a second.
what?
What were you saying, Nate?
We were wondering what's the CR on an ancient red dragon?
24. 24 CR. Ancient red dragon has an armor
Okay.
class of 22.
Ooh,
Okay,
22.
so that falls right in line with our guy.
Yeah. In that case, I would say about 400 HP with the around 25-ish AC we were talking about, perhaps even 24 AC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like that. Straight up doubles when he goes from human to dragon HP. That's easy
That
math.
makes
Easy to
sense.
keep track of.
Right.
Yeah. I do like
Yeah, I like
that.
it.
And that's a good base stat for this villain that we've pretty much built from beginning to end using our it's not patented yet, but I'm sure it will be soon if Big Brain Ivan keeps pumping them out. But using
Sorry,
our
that is
villain
Immortal
acronym,
General Ivan?
that's right, Immortal General Dragon Lord Ivan. But to recap real quick, the villain method goes as such: V for vision and vice, I for identity and image, L for legacy and lore, another L for layered personality, A for arsenal and allies, I for interaction style, N for narrative role and endgame, and once you have all that, you can finish it out with S for stats. And it worked. We successfully, I would say, built a pretty badass villain.
Absolutely. We'll have to
Massively,
flesh it
yes.
out fully and get that in a stat block up on Patreon for you guys. But I believe we've pretty much got something there that you could definitely work with.
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah. I
And
love it.
definitely make sure you guys go check out Armor Giraffe Studios Patreon. Go check out the YouTube. Go check out the Twitter. I think you made a Twitter. I know you made an Instagram. And TikTok as well. So all those good social media platforms. And as for us, you could find us pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. Having said that, boys, same wrap up as last time. Go ahead and let the people know where they can find you. We'll start with Doug, and then we can go Kai, Steele, and I'll wrap us out.
Oh no, you're putting me on the spot again.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Doug again. You can find me on Twitter at DouglasVO. You can also find me on the Big Blue Sky at dgvo.bsky.social, whatever the second and third words are for general stuff. That's where you can find me on the interwebs. Passing it along right to Kai, then.
Well, already an improvement from last time. You can now find me on Instagram, vawizard.kai. Please do give a follow, and I will be posting stuff probably just from TTRPG Giraffe for now.
Oh, well, by the looks of it, then I'm being shown up a little bit. I still need to get mine all sorted up. You guys will be able to find me soon. I'm gonna try and get that sorted at least by the episode after this. And yeah, I'll have to get back to you guys on that one.
Shame, shame. We know his name. It's Steeler. As for me, you can find me under all socials under the name Blizzard Wizard. That's BLZZRD, WZZRD, or at my website, blizzardwizard.com, spelled the exact same way. And we have been TTRP Giraffe. Thank you guys so much for listening. And does anybody else want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. It's been
Keep
nice.
adventuring, everyone. Have a good day.